Hey guys, welcome to Getting Over It. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watch us on YouTube.
Oh, I don't know why I'm laughing. Hey guys,
Hey guys,
I'm Lucy.
I'm Ellie.
And today we're getting over it. Why won't he date me?
Why won't he date me?
I think that's why I'm giggly.
Anyone date me?
I think that's why I'm giggly, because I know.
Maybe this could be like a therapy session for me.
Yeah,
You're like my
literally.
therapist.
Yeah, maybe. This is like Ellie's whole TikTok in one podcast.
Yeah,
No,
basically. Like,
No,
why
literally,
won't
why
he
won't
date
he
me?
date
The list
me?
is long.
I know. So we're going to cover like why he dumped me, why won't he date me, and what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
So this is a really self-reflective podcast.
We've got to take accountability in
Yes.
this episode.
Do we? No, we do. We do. So I thought we'd firstly talk about the most common things about why like he won't date you or what we think we do wrong personally. So like just like the common things that we think most girls do wrong, because a lot of girls in our like DMs are always like, oh, like what am I doing wrong? Like So I feel like if we just talk about the most common things, then we can go deep into what we actually
We'll go deep.
We'll go deep into what we
I'm
do
going to leave
wrong.
this episode
why we're
crying.
single. So yeah, what do you think are like some of the most common things that like girls do wrong, or like why a guy won't date them?
Yeah, I think a massive thing is being too keen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say it because it shouldn't
No, that was
be
number
like
one
that.
on my list.
Yeah, but it's like, as well, if a guy was really keen, it would put me off. It would probably put you off,
Oh,
right?
100%.
Like, it's just the way we are, I think, as humans.
I
Like,
think both like genders, all genders, I don't know what the correct term is, but love a bit of the chase. We just all love a little chase.
at the start.
At the start.
But if you're married with kids and you're still having to chase it.
Oh
it's
no.
like, oh my God.
Get rid.
Get lost.
But yeah, I do think this whole thing on being keen, and I tell you what the wrong thing about it is, I do agree that like not guys and girls shouldn't be too keen, but what I do think's wrong is guys nowadays use it as a, oh, well, you'll get keen, and oh, you're too keen, and like they use it too prematurely, I think, and it's like, well, how am I even going to get to know you if I'm just keen?
Yeah, I feel like we play games a lot, don't we? And I
Yeah.
think that's quite, I don't know, because being too keen is a massive thing. But then if you're not keen enough and you're playing games and you're trying to play along with this whole thing, that can put them off too, because then they think that you're playing them, and you just don't know. Like, it's so difficult in this modern dating
I'm going to
world.
say it because since I've obviously been like, I've been dating quite a lot like this year, like getting myself out there, and in this last 3 months, I've realised, I don't know whether, I'm not saying it's all guys, but I'm saying it. Guys want their cake and like eat it as well. Like guys nowadays, I feel like they're wanting that like wifey material, the girl that's acting like wifey, doing everything right, but she can't be too keen. But then the minute she's like a little bit of a player, oh, I've gone off her, like she's just a city girl, she plays everyone. And it's like, I feel like you can't win. It's like, where is that line of like, perfect, okay, I'm not too keen, I'm not playing the fit, because the minute you step back, it's like, well, you were interested. And I feel like guys like get affected or are a bit more touchy nowadays than maybe they were back in the day. I don't know, like, and again, I'm not saying all guys, but it's like, well, what where do I go with it? Do I like give you the same energy back, and like if he wanted to, he would, or do I have to go a bit of the extra mile because you're the type of person that needs me to? And it's just like you say, these mind games in your head, and you're just like, what am I doing wrong? I don't know.
It's really hard. And I think as well, we've got so much choice. So I think that's what makes this worse. Like, you know, if you're kind of thinking, oh, why doesn't he like me? Why, you know, it's almost as if we're spoiled for choice, aren't we, with potential partners? Because
that is true.
We've got all these apps and stuff, and it's really, really hard to like keep up. But I don't know. I feel like we should just be ourselves, because then you're going to naturally meet the people that are right for you. But at the same time, just being yourself, you're going to find it really hard in the dating world. Like,
it's too much for me. I always say to people, I'm like, I'm such a really single person.
Yeah.
Or I'm in a relationship.
Yeah.
The in-between thing's just not for me. I just get like overwhelmed and like anxious, and it's like, I don't know, like, do you wait so many hours to reply? Do you not? Like, what's enough?
it's really
what's
hard.
not enough?
Like, I actually find it that stressful that I just like, stop. I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it anymore because it's so stressful
Literally.
thinking, what am I supposed to do? But
Literally. This is another one that I think's really common nowadays
Mm-hmm.
about like what we do wrong or why won't he date me or why won't you date them, and I feel like I'm guilty of this one.
Okay.
Is like you're meeting them in the wrong places. Like you're meeting a guy in the club. Are you meeting your future husband in the club?
Probably not.
Probably not. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of girls as well, like they'll message me and things, and then I'm like, oh, cool, like, where did you meet? And then they like say something, and you're like,
You bought me a tequila shot.
yeah, and you're like, was he just trying to get in your knickers?
Yeah.
Like, is he an F-boy? Like,
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, as well, personally, that's what I'm doing wrong at the minute as well, I think. But
Yeah.
I feel like that is something we all do wrong.
But it's hard, isn't it? Because
Where do you meet
like
someone?
I want to meet someone organically. The thought of going on a dating app, I think, oh, boring. Like I don't want to talk to them on a dating app. But then where do we go organically? We go to the club, or we go to the bar.
We go to a bar.
We go to a pub. Like where else are we going? So you do.
It's
kind
not
of
like I'm
meet
going to be
people this
sitting
way.
eating my 3-course meal and just like pop over to the next table and say hello. A bar's a lot more of a setting where you can just be like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
blah, blah, like, and start chatting. That's why I do think as well, like, what a really good place to meet people is like away on holiday or... Because it's like, I don't know. It's so hard. It's like
work. I feel like work is a great place
work's
to
like
meet
the most
someone.
common probably.
I know, and that's what I think is kind of hard for us because we're not in a workplace now. I think about this a lot. I think, oh my God, like
If
I'm
I
never
was in a
gonna find
workplace,
anyone.
I'd meet someone.
Yeah, I
maybe.
would. How many?
Ellie would meet all of them. She'd date them all. No, but maybe that's what you're doing wrong. You're dating everyone from
That's
work.
true. Yeah, so that's the takeaway from this episode.
Maybe. Maybe.
Don't date too many people from work. But I mean, I have one.
Go on.
I have one that I think I do. So I kind of, in a way, romanticize too much.
Oh my
but
God,
at the same time, like, so I've got a lot of walls. Like, I've got some big
Me
walls
and you,
up
me and
here,
you both,
like,
girl.
So, but in my head, I think, oh, it's gonna be so nice, like, 'cause I watch like the rom-coms, and I'm like, and this
know.
guy's gonna come in and he's gonna be like, I'm gonna tear down those walls, and I'm gonna
Yes.
show you that we're not all bad guys, and I'm gonna make you fall in love. And we're gonna live happily
I'm the
ever
exact
after.
same. Everyone wants their kissing booth moment. Or
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, people don't want to break people's walls down. So if you've got these big walls up, like even if you are open to dating and you're thinking, right, I want to date someone, and you're talking to people or you're going on dates, they're going to sense that you've got those walls up. And then I think that makes it harder, and it makes them more likely to go with someone else at that very early stage where it's like, oh, well, they're a lot easier. Like, it's just easier, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you, because before this podcast, I was thinking about things like, oh, like, what's wrong with me? Why wouldn't a guy date me? And the walls thing in my head popped up, but then I just refused to let that be something, because I'm just like, if you like a girl enough, what's a few walls, like, to crack down? But then again, I do, like, if we're talking about the most common things, I do get it. And like we say, because there's so much more choice now, if you're making it difficult for a guy to date you, because you're just like, well, no, you've got to prove this and you got to do this, and oh no, I've just got walls up, you need to, like, I can understand why they're like, well, there's literally like 5 other girls in my DMs that have no walls.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get that.
At that initial stage, I think it's quite key. And I mean, I'm not saying, oh my God, if you have your walls up, then you are never going to get a boyfriend, because I'm the exact same. But I can kind of self-reflect and think that probably does make it kind of difficult for people, you know?
Yeah, no, it does. But then that winds me up that that's been made difficult.
Yeah.
Because the reason we have all these walls up is to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And because probably some guy in the past has made us put these walls
But then
up.
if you met a guy and he was like really closed off and kind of like, oh my God, my ex hurt me, so you're just going to have to give me time. And you weren't really, you were kind
actually,
you would think, oh God, like.
I can self-reflect. Now you've flipped it on the other side.
Yeah.
I can, because I dated a guy recently who I could tell some girl had hurt him. You know, and you can just tell. And like the way he was even judging me and acting towards me, I even said to him, like, I can tell you've been like screwed over before, but I was like, I'm not that girl. So you kind of need to get me out of that box. Like, I'm not dating you to take advantage of just going on dates with you. I'm dating you because I want to get to know you and date you, like, and end up with you. But the way he was acting and the way he was like not really what he was like half committing, and I could tell it's because he was thinking, well, I don't want to get screwed over again. And it was annoying me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm I'm here. I'm like wanting to date you. Like, I'm not going to screw you over. It didn't put me off though. It made me just think, okay. And then he ended up like ghosting me anyway. So I mean, that was like, he obviously wasn't ready. But yeah, that's another. So because I did ask him actually, and I think some girls could relate to this. Again, it's maybe another common thing of why he won't date me or why, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
I asked him where he was at. Now, if you do this too soon,
oh, that's a good point.
It does put people off because a guy I dated earlier on in the year, he asked me that question and I just wasn't there, and it really threw me off. And I was like, okay, he's here, like up here, and I'm down here.
Yeah.
It's given me the ick a bit. It's put me in a situation where now I'm like, oh, now I feel like I have to get there, but I was just taking it nice and slow.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking on reflection, did I ask that question too soon? But I remember asking the question because he was being all weird about the answer, and I was like, I'm literally not marrying you off. I don't need you to like, we've been on a few dates, but I'm just like, I'm at a time in my life where I don't need to date and be going on dates for months and not knowing where I'm at. I'm at a point of like, well, let's just like decide now. Are we like casually seeing each other and doing like some dates and having some fun? Or are we dating to like see where this goes?
Yeah.
So I feel like I wasn't like, where are we at? What are we doing? Like,
do you want children?
Do you want, But I was just a bit like, where do you see this like, do you know what I mean? Is this casual or is this like a serious thing?
The thing is,
and he couldn't really answer the question, so I'm thinking maybe I put him off. But then I'm also like, I don't regret asking the question.
No, I don't think you should. I think there's a thing about being too keen and kind of being too like on the first date. Do you want kids?
Yeah, that's.
Do you want to get married? What venue do you want to get married at? Like
But I think some girls do bring like marriage up on first dates.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Even I don't. Do that. I'm not saying something. Second date. No, but yeah, you do want to know where you're at our old age. You know, we want to know where we're at. Like, you don't want to just go in and think, well, I just want a fling, because if you do just want a fling, whatever. But
I feel like in your like kind of late teens, early 20s, like
that's fun.
Date, and if you like talking to someone for like 5 months, you don't even care because you're just like. But like, I'm 26 this year, and I just think. No, like, even if I've been on 3 dates with you, I then get to the point of like, well, are we going to like seriously date, or are we like sacking this off, or is it casual? Because it's just like, and if we decide it's casual, that doesn't bother me if I'm happy to do that. But I want to know so I don't let the feelings develop, or I don't turn into that too keen, or I don't. So I just feel like I like to know where I'm at. I'm a control freak.
Yeah, but I don't think, as long as you're not doing it like right at the beginning, asking those questions, I think you are free to ask those questions. I think it might put some guys off, but it's going to put the right guys off, because they obviously don't want anything serious. So if you do, that's fine, and obviously you're not a match.
I do think as well, like, there's someone for everyone, and if a guy's getting put off by something really early on from you, they're just not your person.
Yeah, exactly, because I can look at things and I can be like, oh, well, maybe I said something stupid, or I told a joke that he thought was really not funny. But there'll be a guy out there that thinks that joke is really funny. And like, so don't look at, I think the point of it all is not to look so inside yourself in terms of like, oh, it's because I'm this and I'm that, but little things that maybe you can change in the way that you're acting, but
the way you word things and the way you like do things. Like, if you are someone that like comes on very strong after a few like dates, maybe just self-reflect and think, okay, like, I don't need to come on strong. I can, like, there's ways of me knowing if he's serious or not.
Yeah.
From even just his vibe and the energy he's given me. And then maybe on the 5th date, I will bring it up. Like, you can always, like, chop and change things and, like, see what's working for you. But I do just think the minute a guy matches your energy and you know when you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. It's one of those tricky ones because guys and girls, but let's say mainly guys, aren't the best communicators in terms of feelings and this and that. So, like, for them as well, like, they think a girl is being really deadly serious and wanting a relationship when they bring up feelings, and it's so they back off a little bit. But it can just be like where we are, like.
Yeah, but can I also say, like, some guys are really stupid. Like, because you'll say like I've liked guys in the past, and it's like, oh, why doesn't he want to date me? Like, why hasn't he made a move? Why isn't this? Why isn't that? And, like, then I've eventually had the conversation with them of, like, I liked you for so long, and, like, it was obvious I liked you, and you never asked me out. And they're like, what? Like, they just don't know. So
Oh, no, that's the word that really,
I think
really annoys
have to,
me.
You have to know that guys are not very good at reading signals.
Some guys, yeah.
Some guys, sorry. Some
to
guys.
To be fair, maybe the right guys, because they're not just trying to get in your pants flirting with you.
Yeah,
and they're actually, like, friends with you.
The person I'm talking about. But I don't.
Oh.
So he's not the right guy, but
okay.
But he could be the right guy, not for me though.
Yeah, not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is actually true. I've had like friends before where they've been like, he's just not asking me out. And I'm like, he literally talks to you every day. He must like you. I was like, maybe he's literally just scared or just plain stupid.
Yeah.
And he's like, because guys are scared of rejection as well. So maybe he's just thinking he doesn't know whether you're interested. So I've said to friends before, like, just ask him. Just be like, are we doing something or what then?
I think sometimes, because traditionally, not that we're a traditional society anymore, but it's like sometimes I want the guy to make the first move. Like, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, we all want that.
But sometimes I guess we have to make the first move instead of thinking, oh, why won't he ask me out? Why won't he message me? Maybe we need to like say, hey, like, I like you.
Yeah.
You like me. And what's the worst he's going to say? No?
Yeah. I asked a guy on a date out recently.
Did you? How did that go?
So it was weird because we matched on Hinge like a year ago or whatever. It's this guy that I was just talking about how I think he'd been screwed over before.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually why we ended up, I don't know, stopped dating, because he wasn't willing to like really commit, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna match your energy because I ain't got time. But I think it stemmed from the fact that I asked him out first. So we saw each other on a night out, and we both saw each other and laughed and was like, oh, how have you been? How have you been? Because we matched, but nothing ever came of it. But we obviously knew who each other were. And we were out and we were drunk, and I just went, we should go on that date. We never went on that date. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, tomorrow, what you doing? And he was like, oh, I'm actually free. And then on the date, he was like, you know what? I actually liked that you were just like, yeah, let's do something tomorrow.
I love that.
And then on the second time we met up, though, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to actually wait, though, for you to ask me out next, because I want to know if you're actually interested, sort of thing. And then obviously it's like fizzled out, so he obviously wasn't. But rude. But yeah, that actually worked well in my favour, to be fair. Sometimes you have just got to like bite the bullet.
Because you were drunk, like, did that kind of...
That I asked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I also do... Yeah, no, it was. Because I am very much like a he's got to ask me sort of person. For the first date, then like once you like start dating, I don't care being like, oh, I want to see you. That don't bother me.
That's good. I feel like a little red flag of mine is I don't like, say if I start... I think it's just an insecurity thing. Like, because I'm insecure, I'm like, oh, well, we've seen each other now, it went really well, but I need him to ask again. Like, I wouldn't ask, which I can reflect and say... you know, like, as it goes on, like, I kind of wait for them to ask every single time, or them to text first, because otherwise I feel like, oh my God, like, if I message first, then I'm not, you know, what if he doesn't like me?
I think for me it would depend on how the conversation was going in between dates.
Yeah.
If the conversation was just flowing and we were always talking and we were on the phone, like, I think I'm a more in-person person. So I have been on first dates where I've been like, oh, this is really good, we should see each other again, when I'm in person.
Yeah.
But if it didn't get established on the date, I would wait for him to text. Or... Yes, I think it just depends on the communication. If we're like really vibing and I'm just like, oh, we should do something, that wouldn't bother me. But if it was a case of like the chat was a little bit dead, I'd be like, oh no, they've got to ask me out again.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I just kind of like, I don't know, I get, what's the word? Like, it makes me feel good about validation.
Yeah.
It's the validation I'm seeking all the time.
Well, it is a case of, again, like, if he wanted to, he wouldn't. Guys do chase girls when they really like them.
I like a guy.
And I've had guys chase me when they really like me. So, and that's what you've always got to remind yourself when you're obsessing over the guy that doesn't want to talk to you. You've got to remember, like, there are guys that really do chase you.
Yeah.
So you've got to remember, if they wanted to, they would.
Where are they?
And I don't know. They've all disappeared. Another thing as well, and I'm going to say this, girls, this goes for me as well. I'm not saying, and guys as well. The reason he's not dating you is because he's a 10 out of 10.
Oh, rude.
And no, and either you're not and you're not in his radar.
Yeah.
Or two, you're like, it's a thing of like 10 out of 10s don't have a personality. And maybe like he's not, do you know what I mean? And they
can't have everything.
Yeah, they can't have everything. So I feel like it's a case of you're going wrong because he's a 10 out of 10 and he's just either like so boring, so you actually deep down don't want to date him, he's just that he's so beautiful to look at, or you're going wrong because you're literally not a 10-10 and... 'Cause I've been there where I've really fancied like a 10 out of 10 and you're like,
why does
you
he
really,
not want
and it's like, why does he not want me? And it's like, because he looks like that.
Oh, I feel like you're a 10 out of 10, Lucy.
Thanks, but no, some guys out there are like,
Yeah, some guys are stunning. I mean, I don't think I have that problem because I'm a 10 out of 10. No,
yes,
I'm joking
like the self-confidence.
because I only go for like medium ugly men.
No,
because that's just my type. Like I like a dad bod. I like a guy that's maybe a little bit older and a little bit rugged. Like that's just looks wise, that's my type. So it's not really been a problem. But if I did go for them, then I would I'd get that.
You feel the rejection.
I just never ever. I would
no, to be
no
fair,
way I'd be gonna date.
the minute like if I see someone I think 10, yeah, they normally either open their mouth or their attitude is just like ego.
Yeah. And they're like chicken and rice,
boring.
Jim, chicken and rice,
Jim,
Jim.
yes!
Rice,
Oh
chicken and
my
rice.
God. And they're like, yeah, I'm a PT. I can't do anything because all I do is sleep, eat protein.
I don't drink. Like, we are not going to get on.
We're not going to get on because I do everything opposite to that.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes...
I'm not a gym girl. Wish I was, but I'm not. So I feel like that's where a lot of girls go wrong as well. And what we do wrong as well, when we do think someone's a 10-10, and we all have a different like thing on who's a 10-10.
That's
like
true,
my 10-10 is
actually.
not your 10-10.
True.
So, but we put these people we fancy
On a
like,
pedestal.
call them 10-10, we put them on a pedestal, and that's where we go wrong. And I am so guilty of this, so guilty. Like the minute I fancy someone, I'm like, oh my God, they're just so attractive. How can they even fancy me? Like, oh, and I've got a date with them. Oh my God. And I put them on this pedestal.
Yeah.
And then I'm just giving them then all this credit, all this like, and then I'm just like, oh my God, I just fancy you so much. I'm so grateful that you're on a date with me. No, you should be grateful that you're on a date with me.
Yeah, bow
Like,
down.
That's the mindset we should have. And I do think a lot of girls, like including myself, go wrong with this. We put guys on a pedestal, so we're instantly putting ourselves in this like, we're lucky category.
That's
Where we're going wrong, I think. Like,
Yeah.
even if inside we're like, oh my God, they're a 10 out of 10, and I like, how am I even on this date? Like, you've just got to go into the date with so much confidence, as if to be like, you're lucky to be on a date with me. And trust me, a guy would actually like that so much better.
Yeah, that is true, because confidence is really attractive as
Yeah,
well.
really attractive. I love it when a guy's confident. Like, not too confident. But yeah, so I like have tried to do that now, even if in my head I'm like, oh my God, I'm on a date with Brad Pitt. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you just got to think.
Exclusively, she's dating Brad Pitt. You heard it here first.
I'm just literally like, no, you cannot let on that you think this.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I guess I've not had that experience of going out with like a 10 out of 10 conventionally. But I do put guys on pedestals. So it's like, if I think a guy is like amazing, and usually it's if they're really funny, I'm like, oh, he's so funny. Like, that's the thing for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, he's like amazing. He can command a room and he's confident and he's funny. And then I'm like, wow, I'm worthless.
Yeah. And when you get into that mindset, they can see that, and that's not attractive.
No.
And that is a reason why we're potentially not getting these men.
Oh, yeah. You make such a good point.
Such a good point.
Do you know what I also think is a reason why I, in the past, have not maybe sustained relationships? Like, why does he not want to continue dating me?
Yeah.
Why? And I think you have to, like, this is totally on the opposite side of what I'm just talking about. I'm just changing the subject.
Change it, girl.
Yeah, but basically, like, you've got to let people have their freedom, haven't you? Like,
yes,
you've got to, as I've got older, I've realised you need, like, in a relationship,
so important.
You need separate lives. Like,
I was literally going to bring this up.
Were you?
Yeah,
it's basically, I've got this friend. And
I'm the exact same. Is she in a relationship with someone?
She's they have a really healthy
Yeah,
relationship.
my friend.
Yeah. And I'm just
my
like,
friend's the same.
Like, she lives in Essex, so I only see her now and again, but we went to uni together. And she's been in a relationship since before uni. Like, they're like sweethearts. It's so cute. But I'm like, so do you guys like go out together all the time? And, you know, with like your friends, are you going out? And she's like, no, like we just go out separate with our separate friends. But they're so happy.
So happy.
And I'm like, do you know what? That is where I've gone wrong in the past.
Same. I can self-reflect, and I really self-reflected after my breakup, because like obviously, as I explained, episode 2, go listen, heartbreaks, how I really like blame myself for everything. So you like really self-reflect. And my best mate Silka, she literally, her and her relationship with Sam, I always say, like, my next relationship, I'm just doing what you guys do. Like, they have their own lives completely. Like, they will make sure they plan in time for each other, like once, twice a week, date night, this or that. But then every other night they'll like make plans with their friends. And going into like a new thing, and why I feel like maybe I've like failed things in the past, especially like my relationship, because I'm too like, you get like to the point where you need and you want to do everything together, and it's like then your happiness depends on them, and where it's like, no, you've got to be happy in yourself first and have your own like thing going on, and that your partner has, and then you're just then having a happy good time together when you can. And I think that's so much healthier, because like my friends as well, like that's what they do. And I said, whoever I get with next, like I want this thing of like, no, we do our own thing, and then when we're together it's just extra special. I think that's the healthiest thing to do. Way. And so if you're really needy and you're worried about like, oh, are they going to leave me, or like, oh, are they going to stay with me, like I think like making plans with your own friends and doing things, it one just shows them like your confidence, your independence, and guys like that as well, but then also gives them time to miss you.
And it gives them the freedom to hang out with their own friends.
Exactly.
And even if,
and for them to be happy doing what they want to do.
Because they might want to spend all the time with you. Like it might be like that you're both kind of like, oh, we want to spend all of our time together. But it's actually like that's not healthy. So if he's with his friends and you're with your friends, like I think that's just such a healthier way to be, that you've got that shared time. And then when you are together, it's really nice. But I think if you like suffocate each other, that can cause it to kind of end prematurely.
100% as well, because that can just when you're with someone 24/7, it leads to more arguments and things, and you just get under each other's skin. Like I think it's nice and healthy, and like now I've been an outsider looking in on that. That's something I definitely want to like adopt and get better at, because I am such a hopeless romantic as well. The minute I do really like someone, I just want to be with them all the time, and it's like you have to like step back and self-reflect and be like, no, if they do their own thing, they're then going to like look forward to seeing you, and you're going to have a better time together. And I mean, it's getting the balance right. But another thing that I think girls go wrong, and I don't know if the guys do this, I don't know it from the guy's perspective, especially I can do this as well. When we start to like them, we get a bit upset, like, we look at if they're not replying. We look if they've seen our story. We start timing the reply rate, and it's not. And that's when you like you've been on a couple dates and you're like, okay, no, I like them now. And then then you actually start to care if they're responding in a timely manner. And the minute you start doing that, it just goes into a downward spiral, because you're then getting annoyed at them. And they don't even know what, like, because they've taken 3 hours to reply, but they saw your story 1 hour ago. And you're annoyed. And it's like, if you actually just don't look in the first place.
That's true. That's how
you're going to, I mean,
it's hard.
I am guilty of it. It's hard to do, especially when you're like, I mean, mate, it's been 8 hours. You've been on your phone.
2 weeks.
It's been, and I do think that doesn't help, because like today's society, we all know we're on our phones 24/7. So when like, someone's not replying, you get annoyed.
You know, like,
but they could actually be busy, or they like. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously there's a line, and that you've got to like have self-respect and self-worth, and like, no, if someone's taking 9 hours to reply every day, they're bin them off. But I feel like where girls go wrong, and then it's when we get, because with that information we get in our heads. And we paint this whole, have you ever done it, where you just sat at home and you paint this whole picture in his head of what he's been doing?
He's with a girl.
And then literally you get, and then you're like, right, it's done, it's over.
Ring him like, who is she?
You're literally like, I don't get, these took all day. When he replies, I'm taking 2 days. You like get, and then you're destroying it before it's even become anything.
Like
and then they actually text back with like, oh, really sorry, I've just been, and then you're like,
my grandma died.
And then you're like, oh, okay, like, So I do think social media in that aspect, and like seeing, like having read receipts and all this, it's like,
and you've got to not project like insecurities from your old relationship onto that relationship where you're worrying, oh, they're not responding. So if you've had a bad experience where, you know, you did have someone not responding, it turned out it's because they were, you know, sleeping with Sharon from next door, you can't then project that on the next person that you speak to and think like, oh my God, well, they're not responding and they must be doing this because my ex did this, and but obviously really guilty of it. but you're not going to get anywhere in that, are you? Because you just kind of, you're not laying that groundwork to be healthy at all.
No, exactly. And another like harsh truth reality
I don't know
one.
if I can take no more.
I know.
You're going to call me ugly again?
No, because no. No. Another harsh one. Again, same with me, same with guys, same with everyone. Because I obviously I've been going on dates, and you judge people on dates. That's what the whole point of dating is. You judge them to see if you can, So then, like, when guys tell me certain things, of like, oh, like, say if they're like, oh, I don't really know where I'm at right now with my job, or if they're like, oh, I don't drive, or you subconsciously judge all of that.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say to you girls as well, like, they're judging you too. Like, they might not be dating you, or they might not be replying to you because you've actually said something that's put them off. You might have, do you know what I mean? Like, you might be they might be looking for a girl that's like, at this level in their life, earning this much. You never know what someone's intentions are with dating. They might be looking for someone that does a certain thing, does this. So if you're not ticking those boxes for them, that's why they're not dating you.
Yeah, that is
because it's just
true.
Like us girls talk about, like, oh yeah, if he
doesn't drive.
If he doesn't drive, I won't date it. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it goes both ways. So he might literally just not be dating you because you're just not the one for him. Like, maybe if it was a case of he wants someone that's really secure in their career and you're like unemployed, not knowing what to do, he just don't want to date you then.
Yeah, and I think at the start you're allowed to do stuff like that, aren't you? Like, we have to. You want to be nice, be kind, everyone.
Oh, 100%.
Not on first dates. No, but like, you need to just, if you're setting yourself up for potentially a life partner, you want to make sure they're the right person for you, and you've got the same interests, and you've got the same values and morals, and I think that's fine, really. But
sometimes we can get wrapped up in like, oh, I just like him though, why doesn't he like me? It literally might just be as honest and as simple as he just doesn't like you. He just doesn't like you, and that's fine, because it's only like the other way around. If like a guy, when you're like, oh, this guy just won't leave me alone, but it's like, we just don't like them.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It works both ways.
I think the thing is to look as well. Always flip it, and always look at times you've gone on a date and maybe you haven't pursued it because you didn't like the guy, and it's not because the guy was this big, ugly, disgusting monster that was vile and grotesque. It's just because
he just wasn't
for you. And so don't see yourself like, when you're looking at that, don't think, oh, it's because I'm this and I'm obviously not good. But that guy doesn't think you're like repulsive.
He's not at home being like writing in his journal like, oh my God, this ugly beast.
Ugliest girl.
No, he's just left the date and thought, nice time, wasn't for me.
Yeah, nice girl, but wasn't for me. And it's fine. Like, you always have to flip it to kind of get some
to get you set, like,
otherwise you'll overthink.
So you don't go insane, basically. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to why he dumped me.
Okay, yeah.
So, have you been dumped before?
Have I been dumped? I don't know if I have, actually.
Look at Ellie. She's never been dumped.
Girls like me, we just don't get dumped.
Just don't get dumped.
No, I'm joking.
Have you actually never been dumped?
Oh my God, I don't think so. But I've not dated many people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've only had one relationship. So, except for at school. And I did get dumped at school, but that's because he was gay. So.
Oh, well, that's a good reason.
Which is, I can take that reason.
Were you angry or were you happy?
I was happy for him.
Oh, that's
Initially,
nice.
I was kind of like...
you were a bit like, oh.
I was a bit like, because, we did a lot of firsts together. And I was like...
Oh, no.
I was like, right. But then after that, I thought, do you know what? We're 16.
Yeah, it is what
it's
it
your
is.
time where you're going through all, figuring yourself out. I'm happy for him now. I think he's married, or is he engaged? I don't know. He's happy anyway. But I don't know if that's the only time I've been dumped. Like dumped. Because I've just not had a relationship.
Yeah, well, I've had the one relationship and I got dumped.
Oh, you got dumped bad.
I got dumped.
Yeah.
Like DUMPED, capital letters, dumped. But no, so why I think I got dumped. I think definitely, and I've self-reflected, like, again, like, going into, like, a new relationship, I would definitely look out for these things that I think I contributed to why I got dumped. So, like, if anyone can relate to this, I'm just telling you anyway. So I think definitely got too comfortable. Yeah. When you get too comfortable with someone, so you can just start being a little bit like... not disrespectful to them. Like, I was never disrespectful, but you just get too comfortable. Oh, like, do this, do that. Like, and it's not that you shouldn't be able to do that with someone that you, like, love and do. But, when you just think, oh, maybe I took them for granted a little bit.
Yeah.
I I can
get that.
self-reflect on that and think I was just too comfortable in like, we'd been together 4 years. I was just like, oh yeah, we're like going to be together forever, blah, blah. I just got too comfortable with it and maybe should have tried a bit harder to not take them for granted as much.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, to be honest. Like, I think you can just get a lot, you know,
It's easy when you're with someone to just like, you're with them, so you just like, you're just
you just
comfortable.
get so used to each other, but then at the same time, you kind of, you have to kind of keep that spark of the beginning of the relationship where you kind of were trying to get them and they were trying to get you, and just kind of keep that magic alive a little bit, because otherwise it can become a bit stagnant.
Yeah, exactly. I do, like, for anyone that's actually in a relationship, like, staying on top of dates is so important.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're going to lose your boyfriend or girlfriend if you don't go on regular dates, but I'm saying, like, it is just so important to do. And to
just time together.
have fun.
Even if you live together, like, it's still important to go and have, like...
Yeah, do something
Go out
that's
and
like
do
out of
stuff.
the norm of just getting home, cooking dinner and putting the TV on.
Yeah.
Like, just getting out of that little rut sometimes and just like making sure that you're not taking them for granted, doing them something that cute that's like, oh, they thought about me today. Like, it does just make all the difference. I'm not saying I was like a mean, horrible person, but you know, like for this podcast, obviously I was thinking like, oh, why did I get dumped? Like, I did get dumped, so let's think about it. Another one as well, and I think this was the main reason, just like bickering over pointless things. And we were both guilty of that, and I think we just ended up bickering a lot towards the end. But like on self-reflection, I can be like, you know what, like, this wasn't an argument, but let's just say, like, does who emptied the dishwasher, like, really matter that much?
Yeah.
Does it need to be a full-blown argument? Like, and do you know what I mean? So it's things like that. It's like, if you're arguing all the time, it's going to become toxic.
I think not putting your own stresses on the other person. So, like, if you've had a stressful day or you're having something stressful elsewhere in your life, and then you kind of put it all on that person and, like, snap at that person, and it's kind of like trying to just not do that, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, and just trying to, I don't know, not be so toxic. Like, sometimes it can just turn a little bit toxic, can't it? So it's just having that awareness of kind of those signs to look out for. And I think, like I said earlier, having like your freedom and having your own individual lives, and not thinking, oh, well, he wants to go on a lad's holiday, he wants to go on this like stag do, like, he can't go on that because he'll cheat on me, and then kicking off about it. And it's kind of just like having that healthy balance if they can go out and do that. And
exactly.
You have to kind of let people, I think, in relationships, it's definitely where I've gone wrong, do what they want. Like, you do need to let them do what they want within reason, but if someone's going to hurt you, if someone's going to cheat on you, they're going to do it anyway.
They're going to do it anyway.
So why not just let them do what they want to do? Go out with Dan and whoever.
Because especially for girls listening, and like if you're like anxious about your, like, I don't know, boy going on like a boys' holiday or going to the club every Saturday or whatever it is, like, just think, imagine if the other way round they were telling you couldn't go on your girls' holiday.
It's not right.
Do you know what I mean? It's not right.
And I've definitely been that person. Like with my ex, we were both toxic, and it was like, oh, you want to go out with the boys? Like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was like, we were both controlling of each other. Yeah. We're both really like... And
you have to let each other be free. I honestly feel like that's the healthiest relationships. Like, just letting them be free.
Yeah, let them be free. Absolutely.
Because they're with you because they like you. And it's just about not getting in your own head. The minute you get in your own head, this is what like we said earlier, you flip it. Yeah. Flip it into like, okay, I'm only going to do and react to what I would want to be done and reacted to me. And like what's fair and what's not fair. And you have to sometimes just take yourself out of that moment and like be like looking at yourself, almost being like, okay, no, like you've got to think logically about this and like break it down. But just before we get on to giving people advice on like why won't you date me and everything, I wanted to ask you, how do you think you can get a guy to like you? Ooh. Personally, like so you're thinking, oh my God, like I really like this guy, and I'm talking to him, how do I get him to like me? Or you're thinking, oh, it's going downhill, you maybe don't want to date me, how do I get him to like me?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew.
If we knew.
Great question. I don't know, because before I would have said, do my hair really nice, or like spray some special.
Get my nails done.
What's that stuff that you can spray and it's like gives off like pheromones? Like some pheromones.
Oh yeah, I know what you're on about.
I would have had all these solutions, like a big long list. But honestly, like I just think at this point, like, I want to have a really good point for you, answer for your question.
I know.
But just be myself. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
it
just be
is.
myself.
No, it is though.
And that's how I feel now. Like, it's kind of impossible for me to answer that because I'm like, I just would be me. And like,
that is the best advice though. Yeah, that's what I mean. F off. Like,
I was gonna say that, and then I thought, this is a family show.
yeah,
what would
no.
you do?
Well, I've got a story about how my ex got me.
Oh, okay.
And because what I was going to say is, honestly, one of the best ways to get a guy to like you, and it's what every mum tells their daughter when they're obsessing over a guy in high school and you don't want to believe it, is to just it's like treat them mean, keep them keen.
Yeah,
and it's like, don't really be that interested.
Yeah.
But then when you really like someone, you're like, no, I've got to be interested or they won't even know I exist.
Yeah.
And you but honestly, I was horrible to my ex when he was pursuing me. He liked me, fancied me. Obviously he was Greek, wasn't he? And I was like, every time he'd take me somewhere, I'd be like, oh, how many girls we brought here then? Like, oh, like, ick. Like, I was like, oh, you're a Greek barman. Like, okay, so I'm the 100th girl you've brought here. Like, and he'd laugh. He'd be like, oh my God, like, she knows. Like, he'd be like, and I don't think he'd ever come across a girl like me before where I wasn't just like, oh my God, like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I remember he asked me out after like 2 weeks of knowing him and I was like, no. And he was like, what? And I was like, I don't even know you. You've known me 2 weeks. Name me one thing about me. No. Like, absolutely not.
Oh, God.
And he kept, no. But it's because you know when you like kind of fancy someone, but you really don't care less. I really kind of, and I think that happens. People in my DMs are always like, yeah, like it was someone that I really didn't like know or like or care about that I ended up being with. And I think it's because all of this overthinking is not in your head because you're not seeing it in a way of like, I really want them. And you're doing all these things that girls normally do wrong because you're just obsessing over them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not that bothered, and then you're coming across really like, and I don't know, it doesn't work all the time, but some guys really love the chase of that, and they're like, well, she's gonna like me.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, I remember 2 weeks before we got together, officially or whatever it was, he was like, just saying he really liked me and this and that, and I was honestly horrible. I was like, you're a friend, like, and at this rate, we're not even gonna be friends because you're obviously not even getting the hint, like, what do you want from me? Like, I've told you a million times, like we're not gonna be together. Like, honestly, I was like, it's getting really annoying now. Like I can't be more clear with you. And he was like, just let me take you on one date. He was like, let me take you on one date and I'll like shut it off forever if it's a no. And he took me on this date, and I even on the whole date I was like, no, like, you do know this is the last date we're ever gonna have. I don't know why I was being so sassy, but I think it's because it had been like gone on for so long and I was like, I'm annoyed at this point. Anyway, he dropped me off from the date. And he was like, you do know I'm never going to... I don't know why I'm smiling. Like, I'm so over him, by the way. But it's just cute. Like, I'm a romantic. And he said, like, you know, I'm never going to stop trying, you know. Something in my head just switched. Just switched. I was like, oh. And then, from then, I was like, oh, maybe I do like you. And then that's how we actually ended up getting together. But I didn't like him. Wow. And... but we're going back to now, guys have a lot of choice and they don't really do that anymore. But that's what I mean. The right guy will chase you. And that's why I'm saying, like, just be yourself. Like, I was just being me because I wasn't thinking about, oh, well, I've got to impress him a certain way and I've got to do this a certain way. And I've got... So, like, when you are just yourself, people like you for you.
Yeah, and sometimes you find that person that then is, like, your perfect match. And
so...
dumps you.
Until he dumps you 4 years later and gets a girl pregnant. But it is what it is. No, but I'm just saying, like, I do think that's like...
You're right, not overthinking
It's really annoying that the best advice is to be like, just don't care and it'll happen. But it kind of is the best advice. That's really true. Because everything we've spoke about today, like, why doesn't he like me? Why? It's everything girls do that when we really like someone. And we obsess.
Go for the guy that you don't like.
I know, it's such an awkward one because then we never do.
Or just
we always go for the guy we really like.
Just accept what will be, will be.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's about, accepting and just knowing, like, what will be, will be. If he likes me, he's going to know that I like me. The best quote, and I see it all over TikTok, all the best dating relationship experts and everything, they're like, if you don't know the answer... If you're feeling confused...
that's your answer.
That's your answer.
Oh, my God, so
your answer is no.
So true.
Does he like me? And if your answer is, oh, I don't know, like, he does this sometimes and he does... The answer's no. He doesn't like you because when a guy likes
Oh,
you, you
okay.
know. No, I know. Tell me about it.
So he
I'm
doesn't like me.
I know. I'm
Oh,
currently
man.
obsessing over a guy that doesn't like me. But we move. It is what it is.
We move.
Right. Let's get into people's dilemmas.
Yeah,
So some
okay,
people
that's
have written
fine.
in about like, okay, like
Yeah.
help me. Why doesn't he like me?
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Oh, just locked my phone.
Oh,
Let me just
sorry.
Face ID.
Didn't read the room there.
Here we go. So I have not read this until this very moment. So let's see
Love
what
it.
it says. This is for why won't he date me? So I was seeing this guy for about 2 months, was with weekly dates, and everything was incredible. Then on the day of my granddad's death anniversary, he came to see me to keep me company on a hard day. Sweet. And the day after, he left and I didn't hear from him for a whole week. I was so confused and thought I'd done something wrong. I messaged a couple of times, got no response, and finally had a reply with him saying that the fact that I want to move further north after uni to pursue my career, bear in mind I'm currently first year, is his reason for going quiet. I was torn apart because I'd finally let myself trust someone after so long and I've got 2 years of uni left before graduating. So how was his reason even valid? I feel like the same thing always happens to me, as if I'm not good enough. That's really sad. You are good enough.
You are good enough.
To start.
I think his excuse is a pathetic lie. I'm gonna be honest. Like, we all do it when we're letting someone down because you don't want to be like, I just don't want to date you.
Yeah.
I think the whole because I want to move away after uni, that's rubbish. You've got 2 more years left. I remember when I first got with my ex as well. I was like, I've got 1 year left of uni and I'm off traveling. And he went, I'll come with you. Do you know what I mean? If a guy likes, and I've got a
that's so
friend
true.
currently who's going away traveling soon, and she's just got with a guy, and he knows she's off traveling. When a guy wants to commit, he'll commit. I don't know whether maybe seeing you in a bit more of a serious day has maybe just made him think, oh God, like I'm not ready to be this like boyfriend,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
shoulder to cry on, like commitment, like.
Yeah, because it's quite intense.
There's nothing
that.
wrong with you being upset on your
No,
granddad's
no.
like funeral, but I don't know whether that's got in his head or whether he's just had other girls in his DMs and he's needed
Yeah.
to end it. Because for him to actually like kind of ghost you and you have to chase it up, I feel like his interest has gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
Not to sound harsh.
But I was going to say, you see, I was going to say.
Okay, go on.
But then you've changed my mind.
Oh,
I was going
okay.
to say, oh, well, like, maybe because you are going to move away eventually, it's like he's right that it's like he doesn't want to move. So he's, how we said that you can ask at like the start of things, like, where do you want this to go? And if it doesn't align with your path that you want to take, then what's the point?
That's true.
In kind of getting
And-
invested. But at the same time, I feel like
It's a
you've
long
got
way off.
you got 2 years.
That's what I
and
mean. Because if you were
he could
together for
always
that
move
2
with
years,
you, like
that's what I mean. If you were together for that 2 years,
yeah,
so much can change, and you can both decide on a new plan together. Or you
Yeah.
can decide. Do you know what I mean? Like when I met my ex, we both lived in different countries.
yeah,
We didn't know what was going to happen, and then
Yeah.
4 years down the line, he ended up living in the UK. But none of us knew that at the beginning.
Yeah.
But if we'd have let the fact that we lived in other countries put us off from even dating in the first place, so that's what I mean. Of like, okay, if you have a criteria list, and okay, number 1 is I'm staying here forever. So if anyone ever mentions moving away, it's done. Fair enough. That's your criteria. Whatever. But I just think if you liked a girl enough,
you would change it.
you would either move and change, or you would make her
it
love you
work.
that much that she'd want to move to you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think that's
It's
a
quite an
poor
extreme
excuse.
response,
It's an
isn't it?
extreme response. I do honestly think his attention went elsewhere. If you're both
Yeah.
in first year uni,
yeah, I would say yeah. Because what guy at that age is kind of taking things that seriously?
like that seriously, do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I know
a
that
good
sounds
point.
harsh, but sometimes you have to be harsh too.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got
kind.
one more.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
One more, why won't he date me? Mm-hmm. So it says, I've been seeing this guy for 1.5 years now. Oh, and he still won't date you. Oh, that's awful. Right, okay.
Oh,
Been seeing
oh,
this guy for
Jesus.
1.5 years now. We've been living together for 1.5 years. From day one, I stayed at his place and never left, but he
Ooh.
keeps telling me he isn't ready for a relationship. And it makes me insecure and worry that there's something wrong with me. We do everything we would do as if we were together without the label. We have met each other's family, so I question myself, why won't he date me? What's wrong with me? Is he hiding something, or is he genuinely not ready for a relationship? I don't know what to do.
That's weird.
That's weird.
like what the
You've
heck?
been living together 1.5 years. You are together.
Did she go to his? She went to his then. He didn't go to hers.
From day one, I stayed at his place and never left.
Because I was gonna say, like, sometimes guys will like move in with girls and like go like all guns blazing because he just wants somewhere to live.
Yeah,
and that's what
no,
I
that's
thought
true.
then. I thought, is she
No,
like
she's
paying the
not-
bills and like, but if he
This
had a
is
place
just a
anyway,
really
that doesn't make
weird one.
sense.
I would say you're in a relationship, but
Do
if
you
you've
really
actually...
need labels?
Yeah, you
Oh.
do.
Okay.
I do.
I thought I had the solution.
No.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I can understand why you're thinking, well, what's wrong? Like, why isn't he saying I'm his girlfriend?
Yeah.
But then I also, like, no offence to you, and if he's the one, he's the one. And sometimes, you know, it is a slow burner and you might end up living happily ever after getting married in a few years. But I wouldn't have stayed this long if he wasn't willing to. If I was living with someone, even after like a month of living with them, I'd be like, I'd need some exclusivity. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't even live with a guy if he wasn't my boyfriend.
No, I
I
would.
would-
That's really intense to like, and I'm not saying like, you know, you shouldn't have done that, but that's intense to just go like the first time you start dating and just move in, like.
Yeah, but I've known people where
That's
that just works
intense.
for them, though. Because it depends what kind of level you like in a relationship. Some people love that intense level. So I don't think that's the issue. It's more just he should be saying you're in a relationship. And if he's not, I wouldn't feel scared to question him
No,
on
definitely
it.
not.
And if, like, whatever pathetic excuse he comes back with, I think you just need to, like, I'd ultimatum it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, if you're not willing to literally commit and actually say we're in a relationship, I'm wasting my time at this point.
The thing is, if you're living together and stuff, like, there's nothing. He obviously likes you. Like, there's nothing. You know, when she said, "What's wrong with you?" I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I think it must be something to do
something
with him.
in his head, maybe something that's happened in his
Commitment,
past. Yeah,
or there's something going on there with he can't commit or he
but
can't.
it comes
put
back to if a
label
guy
on it.
wanted to, he would.
Yeah, that's so true. You love that, don't you? You love if you wanted
Because
to.
it's so
true.
It's so cliche, but
I feel like we
it's
should
so
wear
true.
T-shirts that say that.
If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, but I kind of feel like you either need the status or you need to get out of there, and that's just my opinion.
No, I do agree. Like, if you were happy in the way that it was, in the way that it is now, then I'd say just carry on, whatever. If you're both
but
happy,
you're not.
happy, so you need to.
And even if
confront
it's
it.
a case of you don't approach it in a mean way, like maybe ask him, like say, what is there a reason? Like come at it in an approachable way.
Yeah.
But if he's really giving you half-assed answers, you need to kind of give that ultimatum and be like, well, I'm ready for a relationship. If you're not, I'm not going to waste another year and a half.
Yeah, because you don't want to waste your time.
Like, clock's ticking.
Clock
For all of
ticking.
Oh, especially me and Ellie. But yeah, I feel like that's been good to get out because I feel like it's always good to self-reflect and like, you know, maybe sometimes those girls are doing it wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
But then it's not always the girl and the guy, you know, like potentially has a reason and it's maybe just communication as well, which we've not mentioned.
Or maybe it's always the guy.
Or maybe, or maybe we should just all hate men forever.
We're joking. That was a joke.
Before we get cancelled. But yeah, that has been Getting Over It. Why Won't He Date Me?
Yeah. We hope
Loving
you've enjoyed.
it. Make sure you get us on our socials, Getting Over It Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and on our YouTube as well if you're listening on Spotify. But yeah, thanks for listening. And next week we are talking about insecurities.
We are. I was
It's
trying
a little
to
bit of a deeper
remember.
one. A little bit of a deeper one.
Yes, it's short.
But all us girls have them, so it's time to talk about it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.